Everybody should have got the notice that we do record these. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Coffee with the Mayor. This is our first one for 2024, and we've got a couple of new faces involved in this. I'll be hosting it. My name is Matt Pease, and I'm the Vice President on the Chamber Board of Directors. I took over for John McCormick, big shoes to fill, but he's moved on to the city council, and we thought it might be a little odd to have a city council person interviewing the mayor. So I got nominated. But more importantly, we did want to welcome Mayor Gina Dawson. This is her first coffee with the mayor as mayor. And so Mayor Dawson, we're just delighted to have you join us and appreciate you taking the time. For those of you who have been here before or are new, the format here is pretty simple. After these introductory remarks, I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Dawson, and she'll spend some time kind of giving some thoughts on what's on her mind about the city and her term as mayor. We'll then open it up for questions, and a couple ways you can ask questions. We have had some questions submitted ahead of time. You can also put any question you've got in the chat. Holly and I will be monitoring that. And then certainly you can raise your hand, and either Holly or I will hopefully catch that and call on you to ask Mayor Dawson what your question is. And then at the very end, I'm going to give Holly a few minutes just to kind of wrap up and let you know about some chamber events that are coming up. We have a very busy calendar right now, and there's a lot going on in the city, which is pretty exciting stuff. So with that in mind, Mayor Dawson, I will turn it over to you for your opening comments.
Thank you, and it is certainly my pleasure to be here. And thank you so much to the chamber for this opportunity we've had over the years to do so, to see you in this kind of informal setting. And it's good to see you all. Good morning. I just thought I'd kind of start off with a little reference to the state of the city that I was able to give at the Business Person of the Year dinner a few weeks ago. And congratulations again to Holly of Holly's Homegrown. She's such an asset to the city in many ways, individually and her business. So that's lovely. Basically, the city's doing great. We're in a very strong position. We've had so many wonderful accomplishments over the last year. Um, to just enumerate a few, we turned in our housing element and our safe on time, and our safety element was completed last year. We did so many local traffic improvements. We passed a ban on gas leaf blowers to reduce carbon emissions and noise pollution. We also have a new safe gun storage ordinance. There's just numerous things. The Rain Garden downtown, which is a wonderful asset, a new place to rest and relax across from the library, as well as it serves to filter water into our storm drain. So multiple purposes there. And we did launch the website for promotion, the experiencelafayette.org, to let people know all the great places in town and all the amenities that Lafayette offers. And we're looking forward to working more on promoting that in the businesses in town. But that's just a short snapshot of what we have accomplished just in this past year. And all of that, of course, it was advised by public opinion, and we're always going to want to get engagement with the public, and we encourage it. We try to do whatever we can to get the public involved, and that's the way we come up with the best solutions. So we will continue in that vein and all different ways that we can. And that's going to be important for us as we go in to address the challenges that we have coming up this year. And they're pretty significant ones. We have some fiscal sustainability challenges, as well as planning for growth. As many of you know, the RENA numbers we had was 2,114 units, and We did focus that growth, those opportunities for those residences primarily in downtown, particularly along the Mount Diablo corridor. So that is going to have great impacts on how we plan to make sure that downtown is still the vibrant place that it is, where people come and gather and shop and do what they're doing, but also a safe place for all of our multimodal transportation, whether you're walking, from block to block or taking your bike down to BART or whatever you're doing. We're just going to need to do some good planning there. Fiscal sustainability, our 5-year budget forecast a 10% budget shortfall, which is about $2 million annually, starting in the next fiscal year. So, like you and your businesses, we have increased costs of doing business. Insurance costs has gone up. We also have unfunded state mandates, $250,000 a year just for the stormwater um, policies that we need to follow with the state. And so it'll be very crucial to address that $2 million deficit in a way that allows us to continue the services that we currently provide and keep that level of service. So again, we will want to look to the public and businesses downtown to get what are your budget priorities and what are your ideas for economic sustainability. So that a lot of that will be coming up for we're going to be doing more public meetings and some surveys and polling on that as we move along. The challenge with the housing element, we have two opportunities that are coming up in terms of planning, which is the land use element. And Matt Pease, thank you, is on our GPAC, and we just started that just this past week, kicking it off. But there's a lot that will go into that. That will also be coming up in various public meetings where you can give your input. And this is an important time for you to come out. This is our vision. Plan 2040, which is basically the general plan update, is what do we see for the future in 20 years? Similar to what the general plan from 2002 was envisioning, the Lafayette that we live in now, what that looks like and what we're enjoying right now. That's what we have the opportunity to shape. And yes, we do have some challenges within that. We have new legislature and we know what we're dealing with in terms of higher density um, downtown. So that's something that we need your creative, innovative ideas. We need to embrace this change and we want to because we want to share this bounty not only with residents we might welcome in this 8-year cycle that the housing element addresses, which is 2023 to 2031, but also in the future, just like our planning predecessors about 20 years ago did for us now. So we have great principles and vision to build off of, and we've come together before, and I know we could do that again. We also will be working on what the downtown corridor we had as our council priority. One of our council priorities this past year is, and the year before too, is looking at the downtown corridor and possibly updating the downtown plan. But we need to look at that, and we will be during council priority meeting, which is next month. And once again, you're welcome. Your ideas are welcome to input to that. So we see what that actually looks like, because we need to fold in the transportation challenges to that and how we will be looking at that, and also, of course, downtown and keeping that vibrancy. So that's, again, the state of the city is really strong. We have a great foundation to build off of, especially with the public input, and we have a wonderful staff that's supporting all this work that we have accomplished and that is ahead of us. So we're proud of them and all our volunteers on our commissions and committees. We're very thankful for that. But critical is definitely input from the public. So and with that, I'll kind of launch into my thoughts as what I'm seeing for this next year is basically exactly that, us coming together, us hopefully engaging as much as possible the public into this planning effort, because that's what it's going to take, um, particularly in the fiscal sustainability. We can't, it goes hand in hand. To plan the future, we are going to need to have a strong fiscal basis. And right now, that is also going to we need your input to figure out how do we address that gap between what our costs are and keeping our reserves, as we would want to keep our services up to the level that the public expects. And then not only that, the new projects that we have in mind. When we're talking land use and a vision for the future, people, of course, might want to say, hey, we need more parks. We want a ballpark. We want a dog park. We want parklets downtown, or, more emphasis on natural assets in town. Or, there's all sorts of things that we would welcome your ideas for. At the same time, we need to welcome your ideas about, okay, how can we make that happen? Because it'll take investment. So, and speaking of investment, we of course value our downtown, our businesses. You guys are the heartbeat. You bring the vibrancy to the downtown, and you bring people downtown, and it's amazing the range of businesses that we have, and everything is there. So we are proud of what this business community has made in terms of investments into really serving the residents and our wider community. So we do support you, and we realize how important you are to really the growth of the city and what that looks like. So we do want to make sure that we can do what we can to protect that commercial corridor and make it easy and accessible and safe to access, and grow that core business as well. So that's important to us, and we will of course value our Chamber of Commerce relationship. The Chamber has served as such an economic development partner, and we, if anything, just want to keep on strengthening that as we go through the year.
Okay. Well, thank you, Gina. We've had a couple of questions come online, but before we get to those, we did have a question that came in ahead of time that I wanted to get to. And in fact, there was a couple of questions regarding parking. There's been a couple of things going on, both a survey that the city has engaged in on the city-owned parking meters. And then also there's a state regulation that I believe we're going to have to be dealing with, which was limiting parking right near intersections from a safety perspective. And
Right.
so, Mayor Dawson, maybe you can comment on both the survey and the regulation, and what impact you see that having on our downtown.
Sure. The survey uh, was really very unscientific. It was just, as we've increased our parking meter fees from $1 an hour to $2 an hour, and that has not been changed since 2006. And um, the private parking lots, as well as surrounding cities, charge that amount. So we figured, okay, we should do that. It's time. Um, One of the issues of that was those times don't match up with the private parking lots. And I know there was a question, and in fact, even the chamber was suggesting maybe that should match up. And the poll was just kind of a very, as I said, unscientific poll. It was put onto, I think, it was a flash poll on one of our briefings, I believe, and it was just to kind of get a little pulse. So I think interestingly enough, I heard that it was like only 117 people, which is actually pretty good from that particular vehicle, came back, and 85% of the people said to keep the time the same. But you're gonna see that show up in a couple different city vehicles, and once again, it's very unscientific. It's just kind of the first pass, because we are looking at that as suggested, and in a deeper way as well, of course, because there are different costs associated with that, in terms of obviously signage simply enough, but also enforcement and staff time if we extend the hours or if it's weekend. So we do need to look, we're looking at that and um, that related matter. So more, stay tuned on that particular piece. As far as the new law, it's a new enforcement code, AB 413, and it's basically no stopping 20 feet away from crosswalks, I think. Um, so and intersections. So that is something that the governor signed off in October and won't go into effect until January 1st, 2025. So right now is this period that jurisdictions can, if they were going to, enforce this at all, it would just be warnings. And our traffic engineer, Patrick, has already been in conversation with the larger community on this because, to find out about the finer detail of how this needs to take place. And again, it's one of those unfunded mandates, which means, we need to go out, we need to identify the different places, paint the curbs, remove parking meters if they happen to be in that area, and whatnot. And he is also looking, at least right now, on at prioritizing the places where this would be of a higher priority. Basically, this law was passed and for very good reason to give better sightline to the crosswalks, pedestrians. So cars coming up can actually stop and actually see there's pedestrians or bikers at the corners. So it's a very good safety point, but it does have, infrastructure issues that we need to address. And once we get that addressed in finer details, we will, of course, will communicate consistently and broadly to the community to let them know. And you'll see new signage around those points as well.
Good, thank you. We had a question come online. I'll try to condense the question down, and that is, what is our work plan right now on responding to the state's feedback on our housing plan? It was rejected by the state again. Some of our surrounding cities have gotten theirs approved. What are the plans right now to respond? How are we going to respond? And what are our thoughts about the feedback we got from the state?
Well, it's it's good news in a way that we got our letter back, and I'll tell you that unfortunately the bad news was we didn't get it passed, so to speak. But during the time that we had actually sent that off from December to when we actually got the letter, which was just a week ago Monday, our staff had been consistently and persistently trying to get in touch with HCD, yet we had no response, zero response until this letter. And the intent was obviously to get in touch with HCD to say, hey, what do you think? Is there things that you need so that we can, shore anything up then? So when we did get the letter, we of course immediately got back in touch with JCD, and they, lo and behold, immediately got back in touch with us. So our thought is, hooray! What our thought is that they sent the letters out so that they can align. Okay, we can get to work with these cities, and we already have a meeting set up, which is wonderful. That's going to happen next week, and we feel from the comments that obviously it'll be very critical to understand and have the same understanding of what their comments mean, because we did get comments back before and we thought we were perfectly aligned with what HCD was looking for, and apparently that wasn't the case. So both HCD and the city, it will be our focus to make sure we have that same understanding so we can, detail whatever it is they're looking for. And we feel that that's really what it is, just more details. So we do feel good about it. And, same thing, that'll be coming back to, once that is in place and the meetings happen and the staff does their work to align, that'll come back to planning, and then it'll come back to council just for public comment. And then we're going to want to turn it around as quickly as possible back to HCD. So.
Thank you. We had a question, staying on the theme of development. Could you give an update on a couple of different developments that are going downtown? The Brandt, uh, Madison Park, and also on Deer Hill. Um, those three areas, if you can, do you have any update on those developments?
No, I don't specifically. I know the Brandt, you saw there's a lot of movement that's happened this past fall. So I don't know exactly when that will be opening, but I know this year, I believe they will be ready. Madison Park, also you've seen that has already started uh, demolition. So that's in the works. As far as Deer Hill, I don't have an update, but I will be glad to get that from from planning to see what the latest and greatest is.
Okay. Let's see. Um, this is a new question, and this may be a little bit above all of our pay grades, but one of our listeners asked about Bitcoin, and does the city have any plans on promoting the acceptance of Bitcoin as a way of commerce here in Lafayette, or maybe with the city government as a whole?
Well, I would say that we're conservative, obviously, so I don't think so, but I can confirm that answer. That's not something that we're familiar with or tried, true, and tested in a municipality's holdings or investments. So I would give that a qualified no, but I will follow up if there's any different information there.
Okay, very good. Another question is about the prohibition on gas-powered leaf blowers in favor of battery-powered. How is the city council and the city in general thinking about the enforcement and any kind of assistance to the services that the gardeners and lawn maintenance people that use those devices? What are your thoughts on that?
The environmental task force has really taken that on. That is actually their priority right now, is to smooth the way for this happening. So there'll be more communications coming out from that group. I know that council did approve a budget for that, for the environmental task force to take that on, and the communications on that, and they are following up with avenues towards small businesses. And um, as you might know, the leaf blower, any enforcement would be actually on the resident, not the businesses. But we obviously want to educate the businesses and the residents that this is what it is in Lafayette, so that it's a copacetic solution can be come upon. There is a lending library where we have leaf blowers, both the backpack type and the handheld. So we're encouraging residents to check that out literally, and they can also have that available for if they do have employ gardeners, that they can try that out. So we do encourage that. As far as enforcement, it is that would be starting in July, and it's really what we're looking for is compliance. So I sit on the code enforcement board, appeals board, and well, actually, I did last year when we were talking about this. Actually, John McCormick does this time around. Uh, and the goal really is to just get compliance. We're not looking to punish people. Like we just want to get the education out there, and so and that's part of what the environmental task force will be working on too, is how we escalate the messaging, and then same thing with how we escalate violations, multiple violations. So that more to come on that as well, but it is in the works. That is the focus, to educate people.
Okay. Any other questions from people? You can raise your hand or post them online.
Yeah, I welcome your thoughts. You know, uh, uh, ideas for downtown as we look at our land use and, you know, this is,
Let's see. No other questions right now.
wow, okay. Uh,
Um, Go ahead.
I can talk to you a few things that came up before. I spoke with our Chief Aldrich because a question had come up before about Nixle and how often we might be using Nixle because I know there was a robbery downtown and it involved a lot of police cars. I think that was a month or two ago. I'm not,
Mhm.
but people were wondering, oh, what's
Explain
going
Nixle,
on?
please.
Oh,
Explain what Nixle is.
Nixle is one of our warning systems. It's basically if you sign up for Nixle, and I encourage everybody to sign up for the community warning system, but if you sign up for Nixle, it basically gives you alerts. And the way we have it set up in our town is that if there is um, any kind of public safety threat, like a life threat, or if there is a street closure of a long-term street closure that might affect the flow of traffic, we'll send out a Nixle. Other communities send it out for even small, shorter duration road closures. So our policy is to do that if there's a light threatening alert that we want to give to the public. And that particular incident was not, there was no reporting of any armed figures downtown. So that did not at that time require a Nixle. So we just want to let people know that we're trying to use those warnings as necessary so that we don't dilute the importance of those messages. So I just want to get that out there for people. At the same
Yeah,
time,
maybe, Suzanne, I'll put you on the spot. Maybe you could post on the chat, any links of where people can sign up. There you go.
thank
For Nixle or any of the warning things. So she's working on it. So we'll have all that available for you, Libby.
yeah. Well, we have a
Are
great
there,
I'm just looking to see anybody just throw anything out there. I mean, it is coffee. It can be conversational as well. I see.
John, you have a question if you want to take us off mute? There you go, John. You're live.
Status of Lafayette Square in terms of ownership. Has that changed? Is there a change in the coming or not?
I don't think it has changed since Site Centers purchased it. Um, and that was a few years ago. So no. Um,
Gina, if I could pop in here, just because we met with Lila
oh,
Dugla
thanks. Okay.
the other day, and they still own it, but Steve Cortese is back managing the property.
Thank you.
Because they were trying to manage from Ohio, and as Layla indicated, this is not your normal strip mall here in Lafayette, and so Steve Cortese is the one that's actively managing that Lafayette Square now.
Kathy, thank you so much for that update. And that makes a lot of sense because I know that the businesses there were not having a really great luck in getting contact with the landlord, so to speak, at that time. So that's actually good news. Appreciate that.
Good.
And as long as I'm on here, I think too, I was the one that asked a question about the Brandt and Madison Park. And as you know, I'm on the Park Theater board,
Yeah.
and Madison Park is right down the street from us. Our understanding, and we saw something online, is that actually Madison Park is back up for sale.
Madison Park is back up for sale, I think, with the plans, but demolition has started, yes. So
Oh yeah, the demo I think is done, but I don't think they're moving forward with the project, the developer, and so I think there's going to be a new developer
Yes.
that will come in.
Yes. Thank you,
Can
Kat.
can you explain though why the Brandt has taken so long?
Well, Brandt, like many of the developments that were in the pipeline, you know, as COVID hit, we're greatly impacted by that. It threw schedules off, it threw prices off, it threw the cost off, particularly, and manpower. So it's taken a long time. Right now, they are finishing up, and that's still taking a long time too. And we're gonna check in and see how it's going, because a lot of times these hookups, all that good stuff is can take its time as well with the utility provider. So, but for the most part, all these projects, some of them, as you mentioned, Madison's been derailed by a cost increase. So that's the primary reason that some of these things take longer, and making sure that they're well staffed once it's in production, in development.
Any other questions?
So to say hi, Candace, it's lovely to see you.
Oh, there we go.
Morning. Happy to be here and hear the
Yeah.
update. Thank you.
Yeah, Candace, if you want to give us an update, anything from the county
Throw
perspective.
you off.
Yeah, no, I could talk all morning, but no, I as far as Lafayette, you guys are very, very well run. But I will say last month we did launch our shaded fuel break, which will benefit Lafayette, Rossmore, Moraga as well, which is where we're having hand crews who are going to be out there clearing, because we have extra grant money to help prepare us for fire season this year. So I'm excited to see that coming forward. But yeah, Gina and I get to work together on our Recycle Smart Central Contra Costa Solid Waste Authority. And so she and I were there together, and we're looking at changes coming forward, improvements, because I know a lot of people really experienced some challenges last year with their garbage recycling being picked up appropriately. But happy to entertain questions if anyone has them. Exciting things on the budget. We're going forward. Our budget right now is about $5.5 billion, and April we will start our budget process. So by all means, stay tuned for that as well. And I see Mike McGill also here. He serves on LAFCO with me, our Local Agency Formation Commission. And one thing we are studying that does affect Lafayette is the Alamo Lafayette Cemetery District, which runs the beautiful Lafayette Cemetery downtown, has applied for dissolution. And so we are studying, what does that look like? And we're right now studying the operations, because it's run, the woman who runs our a public cemetery, a special district out in the Byron Bethany area, Byron, and I'm always forget the exact BBK district out there out in East County, also runs the Alamo Lafayette Cemetery. So we are doing a study right now to sort of figure out what are the best next steps. Should the county be taking it over? Should we consolidate the two cemetery districts? Bottom line is, it's a beautiful protected treasure in your community, and it will not go away. It's going to be there in perpetuity, and we need to make sure it's properly maintained, etc.
Right, thank you. We do have a hand up. Libby, you had a question for Mayor Dawson or Supervisor Anderson?
Well, it kind of goes, I don't feel like Mayor Dawson really answered the question that I had asked before about pushing back on the housing element rejection letter, the fourth one that we've had. For those of you that don't know, the city of Hayward received such rejection letters time after time after time, and they finally said, look, we have acted in good faith. We have done everything that you've asked us and more. And it is time, it's time to take a stand. If I taught fifth grade for 27 years, and I taught my fifth graders the way you deal with bullies is you stand up to them. The city of Hayward wrote such a letter, and they said, if this isn't good enough, because we all know that HCD keeps changing the goalpost by Diana's own admission. By Diana's own admission, they're being very obtuse about what they mean by certain things, just so that they can come back and change the goalpost and, you know, require more and reject more. Meantime, the city of Lafayette is being exposed to things like builder's remedy. And in the meantime, you know, and the city of Hayward wrote such a letter and said, you know, enough is enough. And if this isn't good enough for you, perhaps we need to take legal, you know, take this into court. And they received certification within a week of their response to that. And I just really think that the citizens of Lafayette deserve this. I mean, people, the GPAC has worked so hard on this, and, you know, HCD has just thrown everything out the window. They want us to basically sacrifice our entire town. And that's not right.
Right. You know,
They're
Lydia,
overstepping their bounds.
yeah,
Yeah,
Lydia, I'll address that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So basically, as I said, staff has been going back and forth with HCD as your letters, you refer to the different letters that have transpired. But this last one, we did not hear from them, and we are meeting with them next week. So they responded very quickly to our response to this letter. And we do believe it is more detailing and not anything that's goalposts have been moved. You know,
Those are goalposts. I mean, if they had details, they should have already introduced those.
right. And that's what that meeting will be very important, as I mentioned before, that we align and we make sure we understand what their comments are. Because as we said, we thought we were aligned on that before. Wasn't the case, so that'll be critical this time. There is a housing element update at the city council meeting coming up on Monday, so you can hear more then. But I also want to say we are not Hayward. Hayward does have some massive, you know, developments with affordable housing as a big part of those that we don't have in the pipeline.
They're a
We do
much bigger
yeah.
city.
It's a much bigger city, and they also have other things in the plans and in development that we don't have yet, and which is why you know, we're obviously made the opportunities for that to happen. So they're a little ahead of us on that curve, that they do have some planning in hand for that actually developers are pursuing. So it's a different, you know, every city is different on how this goes. But, you know, that being said, we will look at what we need to look at after we do submit the letter again. So there'll be plenty of work just to specifically with HCD, because I'm sure they want us to get this through as well. And as I said, the housing element update is Monday, and then the meeting with HCD that planning will have is on Tuesday. So things are rolling, things are moving along, and I appreciate your frustration though, Libby.
Okay. I didn't see any other questions online or hands up. So I think at this point, Holly, I'm going to turn it over to you to kind of give us an update on some of the activities that are going on in the city relative to the chamber.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Gina. I so appreciate your time this morning, all the information, all your prep time, etc. That we put into this. Our Coffee with the Mayor series is very valuable to our members and our community. And we look forward to seeing you again at a future Coffee with the Mayor.
I look forward to that too. Thank you.
Thank you as well, Candace Anderson. We actually have you scheduled for a coffee with our community partners on Friday, April 26th. So
I'm looking forward to it. I always learn more when I come, and it's always fun to see all of you. So thank you for letting even the county supervisors show up at these. But I look forward to April as well.
It's absolutely great resource. And speaking of coffees, our next one will be Friday, April 26th, and that will be with our city manager, groups or WhatsApp. So I will put those links in the chat so you can already get signed up for the next set of Zooms. And sort of going on our theme today of requesting input from our Lafayette, the city of Lafayette has nominations open for their Green Award. So we like to promote our honorees of things such as the Green Awards through the chamber. And so I just dropped in the Green Awards blurb that you can make a nomination there. And speaking of awards, as mentioned, Holly Lucas Akale from Holly's Homegrown received our Business Person of the Year award this just a few months ago. And we just announced this week our 2024 Citizen of the Year, which is John A. Coleman. He was chosen by our nomination committee for his decades of service through Scouts BSA, where he's helped numerous students receive their gold award for their scouting. Gold award? No. Eagle Award. Thank you. Wrong one. And all his dedication and that he, for the chamber, he actually served on the chamber board and helped facilitate our two biggest events, the Res Run and the Lafayette Art and Wine Festival. And then he was also our major advocate for the great community treasures we have at the reservoir, including the playground, the stage, and the community garden. So we'll be holding a dinner in his honor at the Lafayette Park Hotel on March 28th. I'll put that link in the chat as well. For anyone, the dinner reservations are online, and you can read more on the Chamber's website as well about John. Some other exciting news: Taste of Lafayette tickets are going to go on sale next Friday for the event on May 21st. This is one of our three biggest events of the year where we showcase our downtown restaurants. So look for that notification next Friday. It's typically a sold out event, very popular event. We'll continue with our Rock the Plaza concert series in June, Friday nights in June. And mark it on your calendar, the Lafayette Art and Wine Festival, which is my little background here in Lafayette Square, is September 21st and 22nd this year. So it's a good idea to put in your calendar now, invite your friends, because again, it will be a great event showcasing our downtown. We have three very popular, what we call subcommittees going on this year. Our young professionals meet once a month. Our Lafayette business women are meeting once a month. And we are starting a new committee called a nonprofit committee. So the Lafayette Chamber has about 90 nonprofit chamber members, and we're going to gather them together and discuss resources, challenges, and how we can help continue the advocacy for our nonprofits. So I am Holly Sunny. I am the communications director here at the Chamber. We are a staff of 6. You're welcome to reach out to any one of us to answer any questions that we have. And we also have a vibrant group of board members and ambassadors that are here to answer any of your questions as well. So feel free to reach out, and I hope you join us again for a future coffee.
Good. Well, thank you, Holly. As you can see, there's a lot going on, and a very active chamber. It continues to grow with members both working in the city and do business in the city. So please go to our website for the Lafayette Chamber of Commerce. You can see everything that's going on. Gina Dawson, thank you so much for your time, and Supervisor Anderson, thank you for your time. We appreciate your attending and keeping us informed of what's going on. So we will see you at our next Coffee with the Mayor, and thank you all for your time, and thank you for joining us. Have a great day.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Holly. Thank you, Suzanne. Nice to see you.